Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to have the finale for this year's Pan That palette. This is the year where I tried to finish a whole eyeshadow palette. This is what it looked like in the beginning. If I have a picture here, I will show you. And this is a really great palette for me. I have a very light complexion. I like these lighter tones. It's been working so well as a face palette for me. I think I finished Tarte first, the light brown shade, because I used it as a bronzer. I used Vapor as a blush. I have used several of these shades as highlighters. I've used them in my inner corners and stuff. So I have really used this as a face palette and it's been working great for me. This is one of my most beloved palettes in my collection, I would say. However, it doesn't look like this anymore. Right now, it looks like this. Look at that. I am so close to finishing this palette off. I'm very tired of it right now. Like, these shades are obviously not the shades I would go for first because they're left, you know, so these are the harder shades, I would say, except for maybe Sky. I love this shade, the silver here. I say it every time, but I mean, it's such a nice shimmer. I mean, look at that. And one swatch looks like this. I mean, it's so buttery, so it's such a great shade, and it's really surprising because the rest of the shimmers are really a lot softer, and then this is like bam, in your face, and I love it so much. And so yeah, I love it. I would like to use it up. The other shades that are left, I don't really care too much about. I am really growing tired of this one. I have used this so many times, this green shade called Sweet. I've used it mostly on my lower lash because I don't want to go with a green or blue look every single day. And this actually turns out like a green blue shade more than a green. So whenever I have like a green shirt on and I use this, it doesn't look too green anymore. So it's a very special green. And it's not that it's not beautiful, it is, and I can create quite fun looks with it. And this month I actually used this one together with Gaze and maybe Candy as well. And I just used Sweet as a wing. And then I wanted the rest of the look to be very, very light. I think I have a picture of it here. And so I've had a lot of fun playing around with it. This was the only like really colorful shade in here except for Cutie. This one though, you know, it was fun to play around with, but as every play around shade, let's say, it's hard to finish because I don't want to play around with those colors all the time. They're so unique that it kind of becomes boring if you use the same thing over and over again. But I use this as a blush, and as you can see, I've used it up. Yeah, let's just go through this. In the past few weeks, I have actually managed to use up 1.27 grams in this palette, which is awesome. I've had a goal of using at least 1 gram each and every month. And from what I can see, it seems like I've done so every month but 1. No, 2 months. Okay, so 2 months weren't that great, but then I've had like a month or two where I've almost completed 2 grams worth of product. But yeah, I'm so over the moon with the progress I've made this year. Let's go through the usage. The first shade right here, called Gaze, I've used 3 additional times for a total of 73 uses in this project. And yeah, I think you can see because I used them pretty much. Like I said, I used it in the look I made with the green one, and I used this shade a lot. So I was like, okay, I can already see the pan expansion in one use, and you can see that, you know, it's expanded a little bit at least, but I've only used it 3 times, so not too much. Then we jump over, this was already paneled the last time, This one, Golden, I wanted to finish this month, and as you can see, I did. And I used it 6 additional times for a total of 73 uses to use it up. This was a very easy shade to work with. It was a very light champagne-y shade. So it was really easy to use it, although it was one of the last shades to be completed. But I often work that way. Like, I often single in on a shadow I really like. And then, you know, I move over to something else and I realize, oh, I actually like this one. So just because these are in the end, like in the end game, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't like them, that I will never use them up. Especially in this palette, I have had so many favorites because they're so good. They're so good. Yeah, maybe it's because I've never seen such a light palette. I really felt like most of the shades fit my complexion, you know? So Golden is done. And then let's see, we have Clouds. I had already finished that one. I had finished this whole row. And then we move on to Sky. I've only used it once this month. I was really trying to get out those 5 shades that I was mentioning last month. Yeah, because I thought if I really focus on these 5 shades, I think I can have them out. And I did. So I haven't really used this one a lot, but I think, you know, I am tired of this palette right now. So one part of me just wants to get it out of the way a little bit and just take a break before I finish it. But this shade is such a good shade for winter and spring. So maybe I will just try to use this shade a lot this upcoming months and just not worry about the rest. We'll see. Pick and mix, I only have a sliver of left and I could actually use that up in one single use more. So I did, and we have a shiny empty pan. I've used this 112 times in total, which is actually quite a lot. I think that is the highest usage I have on any shade in here. Actually it is. So it's good that I liked it. It doesn't feel like I've used it a lot more than all of the other shades, so that's a win. Okay, so Sweet. I have used it a little bit. I've used it twice for a total of 50 uses in this project. Like I said, mostly on my lower lash. Let's move on to Wanderlust. This one I didn't know if I could finish because I had quite a bit left on the sides here, but as you can see, it isn't empty. And I've used it, oh, I only had to use it twice more. Okay, so I actually used this one. Oh, the lighting is really off when the camera sees all of these pans. It's very reflective. So I'm sorry for the lighting. But anyway, I used this one together with Sweet and Gaze in that look. I think I actually covered my whole eyelids or something with this one, and then I used this for some accents or something because this was shimmery and this was not, but this was a great like brightening up shade, let's say. So yeah, I have used this one 81 times in total. Then we come to Bubblegum, which I've used as a highlighter. I've used this 5 additional times to use it up for a total of 75 uses. This one was already empty, so let's move on to Candy. I've used this twice more for a total of 86 times. I often use it together with a green on the lower lash. So these ones actually have a different texture. It's more of a putty form, like it's not really powdery, I would say, but they do stay very well on the waterline. So that's how I've been using them the most. And then we move on to the last shade, which I've used mostly as a blush. Especially this month, I think I've only used it as a blush. And I've used it 4 more times for a total of 68 uses in this project. And that means that I've finished all shades but 4, which means I've finished 12 shades in this palette. And now we have like a white to purple shade left. We have a silver, we have a green, and we have like a pink shade here. And they all have decent pans. And it's a little bit funny because the one with the least bit of pan, I'm not too worried about because I really like it. And the ones with a lot of pan, I'm like, I'm so tired of them. I don't want to use them for a whole year more to, you know, use this up. I think this one would go pretty fast if I use it all over my eyelids. I think I could use this one as well. I've used this one as a highlighter as well at times. But yeah, I think this one, I don't know how much longer I can take of this, but if I can just take a little bit of a break and then bring it into a project, maybe I could finish that one. Well, I have to finish it. Like, I can't leave one shade. That's not me. Like, the completionist in me. Like, if I have worked and come this far, I should use it up, right? And I just have one question for you guys. Do you think that I should have this as a Pan That palette next year? Maybe I would take a break, like, for 2 months or something and work on other things. Or maybe I would just use this one then because this is a great shade for now. But then take a little bit of a break from the other shades and then try to use it up in the rest of the year while I have my other Pan That palette ideas. Like I've mentioned, I will try to hit as many pans as possible next year. And in my Pan That palette, I want to hit pan in, you know, a whole palette. So I just want to hit all pans in a palette and then move on to the next and the next and the next. You know, try to have a lot of palettes with all pans in them. That would be awesome. So my focus won't be on finishing a bunch of shades, but maybe I could try to finish 4 or 5 shades during the next year and have this out. It would be such an amazing feeling. Like, I should do it. But let me know what you think. I would like to finish this. And that was it for Pan That palette 2024. I really look forward to next year. I mean, it's so much fun to have different goals. And even though I have really liked the goal of trying to finish a whole palette, I can't wait to get back to try to hit pan in as much as possible and just use my collection more and not focusing in on, you know, just one palette mostly. Yeah, I can't wait for the next goal, the next year, you know. I hope you're in for the ride. Subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow with a brand new video. Have a great evening. Bye.